mobile developers, infosystem de l'AI. Modern applications, when they give access to a database, the users will want to search that data because the database have lots of data, and maybe the users want to get some specific data that they are interested in. For that, the purpose of this demo is to implement the search functionality inside our Xamarin Forms and inside our web services. First of all, for the web services, our API controller, the one that contains all our web services, contains functionality for getting the list of employees, adding an employee, changing an employee, and deleting an employee. But it doesn't have a service that is responsible for searching some employees, except the method called get, which accepts a parameter of type integer, which is the ID. The purpose of this demo is to implement another service that will try to search inside the database using some keywords related to the name or to the department of the employee. For that, we'll have two steps to do. The first one is to add the service inside our web API controller, the service that will be responsible for searching. So let's call it search. Then the search, of course, will accept a keyword, then it will try to access the database using the DB object and retrieve the data, and then it will get it back to our mobile application. Our application will request that data from a specific page, so we'll build another page, will be named research page. So here the user will have an entry in which he will enter the keyword he's looking for. So let's say, for example, is the name of the employee. Then he will have a button for searching. When clicking that button, a request will be made and sent to the search web service, so that the web service will access the database to retrieve that data and get it back to the mobile application, which then will get that response and show it inside a list view. Because searching the keyword might return a list view rather than one object. So let's get started. Hi. After a continuation of the previous videos where we implemented the post, put and delete services implemented inside our Xamarin Forms application and ASP.NET web services, also with the get that will retrieve all the list of the employees from our database. Today we will implement a new feature, which is the search functionality. So here, for example, instead of getting all this data from the database, the user wants to search a certain specific employee, given its name, for example. So we'll do that by doing two steps. The first one is to implement that functionality inside our web services, and the second one is to implement it inside our Xamarin Forms applications. So let's start by adding the search functionality inside our web services. So let's go to the web services demo application. Here I go to the employees controller. Here we have the services responsible for getting employees, putting, post and deleting employees. We'll have another method for getting an employee by its own ID. We want to do something that seems like this service, but we want to search the employee by his name, for example. So what I will do is to copy this one and create another method that will search the employee by his name, for example. So let's say here it will accept a string instead of an integer. So, and let's say here it's keyword, for example. So as I am passing a string here value, I cannot use the find functionality. Instead, I'll go to use to query the employees table using the first or default, and here I look for the employee who have, so let's say it's E, sorry for that. So it's the employee E who have his name equal to a keyword, for example. So I can do this absolutely, but here let's imagine that a user doesn't type the name the right way, so he might misspell the name, or he might also write the first letter in lowercase rather than uppercase, so that way the request here, the query here won't get the right person we are looking for. So the better thing to do is to change this, to look for the names that doesn't the names that doesn't the names that are not exactly like the keyword, but the names that contains the keyword. So let's say contains our keyword. So that way the query makes a lot of sense. So here I'm getting that employee, but here I'm looking for actually a list of employees. So let's change this one. Instead of using first or default, I'll go and use where, because this query might give me lots of employees. So let's call this employees, and now it's giving me a list of employees. So here I cannot set the value of the where query to the list of employees. Why? Because where actually gives me
narrator, exiting narrator.
That's because where gives an queryable of employee. So I should change that one to convert it to list. So I'll use toList method here to change that queryable of employees to a list. So I'll make sure that my list of employees gives me a result. Instead, I'll return not found. But here again, it's telling me that my list of employees does not give me null, because here after executing this query, the toList method will try to change that value to give to return a list to the employees. So my value here, my employees might not give null. So if my employees are not null, then I'll return the list of the employees inside the HTTP response. And here you might notice that the response type expected from this method is of type employee. I'll go and change that one to expect a list of employee, as I have changed this its implementation. And here I'll change the name of the method to get employees instead of one employee. So now that we have implemented this functionality here, before going to production, let's go and test it, so we make sure it's working well. So I hit a breakpoint here, and let's click F5 so that I can run this application. Before that, I should go and make it my startup project. Let's hit F5. So now that my application is loading, I can test that this web service using the this same URL here. So I'll go to /API/employees, and here after this one I should give it the keyword. I'm passing a parameter here, so it should expect that keyword to came after this slash. So here let's say I'm looking for the employees that their names contains M, for example. So to do that, I'll type that here, hit enter. Then here I get this error telling me that the request is invalid because here it's expecting that the ID should be of type integer, should wait for something of type integer. So that's why. That's because here actually we have hit the get employee, which accepts a parameter of type integer, call it ID. So to make sure about that, let's hit a breakpoint here, and let's refresh and resend our query again. Oops, it doesn't hit even that breakpoint. Why? That's because here it's like I'm using two URLs which are the same URLs. So here after choosing that the one here will be API/employees, I have two solutions. Either to go and remove this method, the get employee by ID, or I can go and change the URL of one of them. So the solution I'm going to choose here is to change the URL. So I can do that and give my my web services a custom URL using the route attribute here, which you can find inside the system.web.routing. So you have two routes here, one inside the system.web.mvc and one inside our system.web.routing. Inside the API controller, you should use the system.web.routing. So I'll use that one, and at the constructor of that attribute you can pass the URL you want to use for this get employees web service. So I'll go and choose as this one, employees. Then I call it's the search. It's search. Then after the search I should pass the keyword here. So I should tell my tell the route that it should expect something about the keyword. So I should copy that exact name, and here after typing my keyword after the search here, that keyword will be bound to this parameter here. So this keyword will take its value from this keyword coming after the search slash. So now let's try that again. Now let's refresh this request. So, but here, as we changed the route to have this search, as it should match this one here, after the employees slash search, then we put our keyword, which is M here. Let's hit enter. Then the breakpoint is hidden, and that's the breakpoint where we want our web service to be executed. So, and if I put the cursor on top of the keyword, I can see that the parameter passed is our M keyword. So now let's click F5 so that the web service go to query the database for all the names that have M keyword. And here you see the data. It contains all the employees that have M inside their names. So now let's try with, let's say, W, for example, which the Marwan is the only employee who have that letter. So W, click in F5. Now we have only Marwan who have that only, who's the only one who have the W keyword inside his name. So now that our web service is working fine, let's try now to go to step 2 and implement that functionality inside our Xamarin Forms application. For that, I'll go to Visual Studio and switch to my Xamarin Forms application. So here I'll go first of all to add that functionality inside our employees services. Remember this services that have all the access to the web services from the methods of getting employee, post, put, and delete employee. Now we'll add the functionality that will retrieve, that will search for the employees. For that, I'll go and copy the functionality that retrieves all the employees and paste it here. And here I'll go and rename it get employees by keyword. It returns also a list of employees, and it will use our REST client to retrieve a list of employees. But here, instead of using the getAsync method, I want to use a method that can accept some other parameters. For that, I'll go and implement another getAsync. So let's copy this one and let's paste it here. Now this getAsync will I'll go and rename it to get by keyword async, and this one will accept the keyword, which is of type string. So let's call it keyword. Now my web service URL is no longer the URL I have specified here, as I have added the search inside my inside the route of the URL inside the API controller. So I should use that exact URL specified here. So I should add the search, copy it, and let's come back to our REST client. And now here I should add to my URL that I will invoke, I should add this search, and after that I should add my keyword I'm looking for, so that the URL will look like this one that we have used for testing. So it's API/employee/search/ our keyword we want to search for. So the result will be JSON, which is a list of our employees. Then we'll return that employees back to the caller. So let's go back to our employee services, and here we'll call our new method get by keyword async, and we'll give it the keyword we are looking for. That keyword will be passed as a parameter inside this method. So it's also of type string, it's keyword. Let's pass it to this method also, keyword. Then we'll return a list of employees. So that we have added that functionality inside our services, now we'll use it inside our MainViewModel. For that, here I'll go and add a property that will have all these employees. So as I have an employees list here, I'll go and add another one and call it, just give it a type of list of employee. But these ones I call them searched employees. So those ones should implement I notify property change it. So they should use on property changes. For that, I'll give them a backing field so that I can go and change their setter to use on property change it. Now, as we have added that searched employees, now we need the command that will be implemented, that will be used from our user interface. So for that, I'll go to my main page here, and here inside my main page, remember what we have, it's the list of the employees, and now I want to have another button which have a text search employee. The search employee will go to another page in which the user can type the keyword he is looking for and have the list of searched employees in that page. For that, here I'll go and add another button with text search employees, and let's give it a color, text color. Let's say it's for example it's white, but the background color should be, let's choose for example the I'm not sure, but let's choose the purple color. Then that button will have a click it event. That click it event will go to navigate to the search page. So let's say here it will use the navigation dot push async, then it will go to my search page. Here I don't have the search page, so I should go and add that page inside my views. Right click, then add new item, and here I'll add the XAML page that will handle the search functionality. So here it is, XAML form XAML page. Let's call it search page. By adding that page and removing this default label. Now I'll go to navigate to that page. So here push async new search page. So again here it's await and async. Okay, so that now I have navigated to the search page. I'll go here and use the stack layout with orientation equal vertical and with spacing equal let's say 12 for example. Inside that stack layout I'll go and add an entry and a button, so that the user, when after typing the keyword inside the entry, he will click on the button. The button will have a text of let's say search. Then we'll have a color also of, let's say it's white, and the background color, let's choose the green color for example. And also it have a command, that command that will be responsible for the search. So that one is not yet implemented, so we should add that command inside our main view model, as we have added the commands responsible for the post, put, delete events. Now we'll add another command. So let's copy one of them and add that here, and let's call it search command. So here the search command will create a command that will create an instance of the employee services, and it will call the search, or actually it's the one we have created, get employees by keyword async. So that method, as we have implemented it, it accepts only a string, which is the keyword. So here I need to access to the keyword typed by the user. How can I do that? So actually there is two solutions. So either I can go here to my button, and as I have a command, I have also command parameter, and here I can pass a parameter to my command, or I can work on a more simple solution, which is to bind the entry to a string, to a property inside my view model, and that's what I'm gonna do. So for that I'll go and type text here and bind it to a keyword that is inside my main view model. So I'll go here and add another property inside my main view model. That property is of type string, and it's my keyword. That keyword of course is a property with backend field, so that we can use the property changed event to get that information of the keyword typed by the user to be set to this keyword. And now remember, as we have done during the last video, now I'll go to bind to my keyword. So here, binding. Before doing that, I should go and bind this content page to my main view model. So I'll go and do that the same way as we have done in the last video. Remember where we passed the main view model to our new employee page. We'll do the same thing now. So let's retrieve the main view model we can retrieve the main view model using the binding context, and then pass that main view model to our search page. So it's not implemented inside our search page, so I should go to the search page and tell it should accept a main view model. Then it will bind to my main view model. So let's set the binding context to be equal to my main view model. Now let's come back to the search page. So now it binds to the main view model. So now I'm sure that at execution time it will see my keyword coming from my main view model, the same keyword. So to not misspell it, I'll go to copy it as it is and paste it here. And so that I can reflect the modification from this entry to that keyword, I'll go and set the mode to be two-way. So with that, the entry will reflect the modification to the keyword. So now, inside my main view model, this keyword will get the value typed by the user inside that entry. So that here inside my search command, I can add that value here. So let's say it's the keyword, and you notice here again I'm using the keyword with the underscore, not the one with uppercase key. So now I have retrieved the keyword, and I use the search command to try to get the employees by keywords from the web service. Now, after retrieving the list of employees that matches this keyword, this method will return a list of employees. Okay, get employees by keyword returns a list of employees. Those lists of employees, I go to show them inside my searched employees, the property I have added, so that I can bind or I can set to it the list of employees searched by keyword. After getting the list of employees here, I'll go to show this list of employees inside my search page, inside the list view. So don't forget to bind to my search command before going to add the list view. So here it is. So now let's add our list view. So it's a list view. We'll go and use items source and bind it to our searched employees. So let's copy this one and bind it here, and let's say that my list view has uneven rows equal to false. Then let's add my list view dot item template, and let's add here a view cell. Sorry, before that I should say it's a data template. Then inside that data template I'll add the view cell, and inside that view cell I'll add also a stack layout. The stack layout will have an orientation vertical and have also padding, let's say by 12 and 6. Inside the stack layout, I'll go to add a label which will show me the name of the employee. So I'll go and bind to the name of the employee, and I'll add another label to bind to the department of the employee. Let's set the font size of the name to be, for example, let's choose 24, and the font size of the department label will be let's say 80, and let's change the opacity. Let's reduce it to 0.6 for example. So now we have implemented that functionality. Let's try and run this one inside our emulator. Click on F5. So here I get an error telling me that the main page already defines a member called button on click with the same parameters. So here I have two methods with the same parameters, button on click and button on click. So I should go and change the name. So here I'll call it search button on click, and this is the one used by this button here. So I should change that also here. It's actually inside my main page, not inside the search page. So it's the button here which is responsible for navigating to the search page. So let's run it again. So now let's type search employees. Let's wait for a moment so that the all the list of the employees will be bind here inside this list. So let's try now search employees. Let's search for the employees with M keyword. Click and search. Then here are, let's try now with the W keyword search, and here are our result. Let's try the same for our Windows Phone emulator. Hit M for example. So here are all the employees that have the M keyword inside their names. So what we have done in this video is that we have implemented the search functionality inside our web services, inside the employees controller here, where we added another service and we gave it a custom route URL. We have implemented that inside our web service using a query made by Entity Framework. Here we queried our database to return or to retrieve all the names, all the employees which their names contains our keyword. Then we implemented that functionality inside our Xamarin Forms application using the employees services, the method that will be responsible for getting the employees by their keyword. And we have showed that list of employees inside our user interface, which is the search page here. So we bound that list inside a list view. So I hope this video was helpful for you, and thank you.